need to be, and just be ready to give it my all on the night.
Why would he be not your kind of guy?
Because, I don't know, he's just...
It's the jacket, isn't it?
The jacket's shocking, I'll tell you the truth. The shoes are shocking, I'll tell you the truth. Everything's shocking, but, you know.
That is one of our, one of our 3 significant cards this weekend. That is actually called The Gloves Is Off. It's on Sky Sports YouTube page, Boxing. I'm going to put the link right here in the chat for you. For anyone who wants to watch it. Basically, it's a sit-down interview with Johnny Nelson, Liam Williams, and former 168-pound. Wait a minute. He wasn't a champion. Didn't he have an interim title? Chris Eubank Jr.? I don't remember. Well, anyway, they're fighting this weekend on Sky Sports over in the UK. On the undercard, or the co-feature, is going to be Clarissa Shields, 2-division undisputed champion, taking on Emma Kozin. Here in the States, it's going to be $29.99 on pay-per-view. It's going to be this Saturday. For us here in the States, it's a midday card. So let's just jump right into the show notes here. Also, some good news. I think that I've decided on the time slot of 6 p.m. I think like this time, it works for me. Right now, it's 6:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be here for the next 57 minutes or so, talking some boxing. We got a lot of topics to go through. And I put the show notes down below in the description box, and that's what we're going to be following. Also, in the chat, you can see right up there, pinned at the top, is a link to my Linktree, which houses all of my social media platforms. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, the website. And down below the description box is links to the WBC channel app powered by the Vive Network for Roku, Apple, Android. And of course, for the gamers out there, I'm starting very soon. I've been doing testing and everything. I got my Twitch channel finally set up. And overall, I'm happy to be here. Had a nice, productive, low-key weekend, but nonetheless productive. I didn't expect a lot of views from this weekend. The Junior and Makabu versus Thabiso Mchunu fight, which we're going to talk about later on in the video. The Robson Conceicao versus Xavier Martinez, covered that. Sergio Martinez fought last Thursday, 46 years old, ranked number 4 by the WBA. Trevor Bryan defeating a Jonathan Guidry to move on to now face Daniel Dubois, his mandatory. That's who he's got to face. And then the winner of that will be the mandatory for Joshua versus Usyk, Fury, Whyte winner whenever that happens. So here are the show notes for today. Let's see, down below in the description box, you can read along with me. So we're going to recap. Robson Conceicao defeats Xavier Martinez on Top Rank on ESPN. Targets Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson winner. That fight is not official or signed yet, but they're working on it. 130-pound breakdown. Brief mention of Jamel Herring versus Miguel Berchelt. Yeah, Jamel Herring posted something on his Twitter hinting at a possible Miguel Berchelt fight. Interesting. And I wonder what weight would that be at? Will both fighters move up? Remember, Jamel Herring just lost his WBO 130-pound title to Shakur Stevenson. But will he be moving to 135? And will Berchelt be moving to 135, where he's been talking about moving to 135 for the last few years or so? The next topic we're going to talk about after that is Don King's $50 pay-per-view. Junior Makabu defeats Thabiso Mchunu, calls out Canelo. I covered that pay-per-view, by the way. Shit show, complete shit show. Mchunu won, in my personal opinion. Trevor Bryan defeats Jonathan Guidry in lackluster performance, defending his WBA regular heavyweight title. Calls out Joshua, Fury, Wilder, Usyk, mandatory to Daniel Dubois. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte purse bid won by Frank Warren's Queensbury Promotions for $41 million. Promoted by Top Rank and broadcast on BT Sport Box Office and pay-per-view. ESPN here in the States. Oleksandr Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 2 on the way. AJ won at $20 million step aside. Fights of the week. Carlos Calderas versus Circecat Rungvisai. Change to Calderas versus Jesse Bam Rodriguez, the brother of Joshua Franco. The Rat King has COVID. I even put the Rat King emoji. This is down below in the description box. We're just going through the show notes of what we're going to be talking about the next 55 minutes or so. Let's see. Also on the card, Jamie Mitchell returns against a Carly Skelly on the zone. Remember, she beat Shannon Courtenay in her last fight. Cuts the zone out for unpausing and resuming my subscription without my consent. They did that. They did that twice. I paused my DAZN subscription, right? Because I didn't want them charging me for fucking January and I believe December too. And guess what? They unpaused my shit and charged my prepaid debit card anyway. Sons of bitches. This is why I see motherfuckers. People be scum. Boxer, that's BOXXER, the boxing promotional managerial group over in the UK right now that's putting their fights on Sky Sports. They have a $29.99 pay-per-view here in the States for the Chris Eubank Jr., Liam Williams, and the Clarissa Shields versus Emma Kozin card. That's this weekend. Also, Caroline Dubois versus Vida Masokate. I know how to pronounce her name. That's going to be on Sky Sports over in the UK here, $29.99 on Fight.tv. Adewale is returning on that card as well. Who wins? Shields or Savannah Marshall? T Street predicts Marshall. And I put the eye emoji and this joint. Like, I don't know. All right. Let's see. What else is we're going to talk about after that? Bob Arum on women's boxing. Should Mikael Mayer leave? Bob Arum been on some shit. He's been sinking Top Rank, yo. He don't give a fuck no more. And Todd DeBuff, they saying he's just sitting around, just letting Bob go psycho crazy in the PR nightmare. And then we're going to wrap up the video with Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios fight week preview and predictions. PBC Fight Camp, which I watched yesterday. It came on, what was it? I believe it was 1 p.m. on Fox Sunday afternoon. Solid episode. Maybe we'll peek in. I have it pulled up on my DVR. It's a 30-minute build-up shorter content leading into the pay-per-view. Normally, they would have 3 episodes before the fight, but budget cuts, they only had the 1. And they did have a PBC countdown. And also, I want them to bring back PBC face-to-face with Brian Campbell. You know how when they would sit down, and, the fighters would go at it. Classic one was between Jamel Charlo and Tony Harrison. The second one, classic. They need to bring that back, but highly unlikely. Tomorrow is a fight week trainer roundtable Zoom call. We're likely going to be streaming that. I forgot what time it is. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, tomorrow is a Zoom call with Robert Garcia, Derek James, Ismail Salas, Stephen Brettman Edwards. So yeah, we're going to have to stream that. That is at 5 p.m. Eastern. I think we're going to have to stream that. That's some quality content right there for the hardcore boxing heads. And the undercard of the pay-per-view this weekend, $74.99 on Fox. Now, I'm just reading through the show notes, and we're going to jump in everything, real thoroughly soon. So we're going to talk about the undercard, which is going to be Leo Santa Cruz returning after being put to sleep by Gervonta Tank Davis, taking on Aikidan Cabral. Abel Ramos versus a Jose Zito Lopez, but no longer Jose Zito Lopez, is Francisco Santamaria. Jose Zito Lopez got some type of undisclosed injury. I think he's going to fight Terrence Crawford, me personally. Luis Neri versus Carlos Castro. That's this weekend, $74.99. And then brief show notes, Julio Cesar Martinez moving to 115 to face Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez after Francisco Estrada has been said to be ill from COVID. March the 5th, not official yet. Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum lawsuit. We already talked about that. No updates. Looks like it may be Canelo versus Charlo, unless Canelo's got some mystery opponent, or maybe he is going to try to fight Makabu at cruiserweight. I don't want to see that. 46-year-old Sergio Martinez defeated Macaulay McGowan last week. Yeah, I watched that on the Probellum stream. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano set for April the 30th in Madison Square Garden on the Zone. The press conference for that is on Wednesday. We're going to be here at 6 p.m. Eastern, recapping that press conference later on, basically. The press conference is going to be like noon or something. I may stream it. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I may stream it. But nonetheless, we will be here on at 6 p.m. the same time as we are today on Wednesday to recap that press conference. And also Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios are having their final press conference on Wednesday as well. And from my understanding, that's going to be on Fox Sports 1 along with the weigh-in on Friday. So we're going to be here streaming, doing something different, streaming after the weigh-in, recapping, and after the press conference for the fight week events. So the goal is to do these streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Perfect time slot. I've been keeping up with it, and I think, you know, I really feel good like streaming at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be streaming during Thurman versus Barrios main event. Haven't decided if we're going to stream during Leo Santa Cruz's fight yet, but we're going to be here this weekend for those who care. Finally, before we move on to talk about Mr. Robson Conceicao and the 130-pound division, my YouTube shadow ban should be over, as I had a community guideline strike, and I noticed the last time I'm talking about it for the last 3 months, and my numbers dipped significantly. So we should be good now. So the more I pump out content, you know, the next, you know, like few weeks, things are going to get back to where they were. Especially no matter what, the weekends are my bread and butter. I'm not with the doing the weekday news, tabloid shit. This fighter said this. This fighter said that. Breaking news, such and such, and the fighter didn't really say the shit. That's not my thing. But what I am looking forward to doing is now having like a boxing show, and I'll clip out the important things and upload them in individual videos, unless it's certain big news that deserves its individual videos. You know, like work smart, not hard. So this weekend on Top Rank versus ESPN, I covered, how many fights did I cover on Saturday? Only 2, right? The Junior Makabu defending his WBC title against Thabiso Mchunu. And what else? The Robson Conceicao card. Let's go listen to the State of Boxing post-fight show. A little bit of it, little brief clips, and talk about the 130-pound division as a whole. So Robson Conceicao, after losing in a controversial, you know, decision to Oscar Valdez, let me pull up his resume here, several months back, returned to headline his own events on Top Rank on ESPN. Remember, going into the fight with Valdez, people didn't really know who he was, including myself. I had to do some research and, you know, read that. I was like, all right, this dude's got a little bit of history. He's got some history with him, because I didn't know. I don't keep up on everything. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, a lot of people going into the fight was like, yo, this Conceicao, he ain't no joke. He's going to give Valdez some problems. Now, here he is, 17-1 with 8 KOs. He defeated Xavier Martinez, another undefeated fighter, former fighter that was on the PBC side, defeated him via unanimous decision. Nico Ali Walsh also did the Ali Shuffle, looked pretty good in another fight of his. Right now, let's go. Right now, looking at the 130-pound division as a whole, website, FV360, link down below in the description box. Our rankings are updated monthly in accordance with the sanctioning bodies, WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, and Ring Magazine. As you can see, Oscar Valdez right here, WBC. Super title is vacant. Roger Gutierrez and Chris Colbert, when are they fighting? I believe they're fighting February the 26th or the 27th. February the 26th, they're fighting to be the only WBA champion at 130 pounds. Kenichi Ogawa just won this belt. Not sure what he's going to be doing next, but I won't be surprised if the winner of Valdez and Stevenson, which is rumored to take place on April the 30th in Madison Square Garden, I won't be surprised if the winner of that tries to go after Ogawa. And is he a Honda fighter? And if he is, because Top Rank has some nice relationships with Japanese promoters and Japanese fighters. So don't be surprised if that happens. Chris Colbert, Roger Gutierrez to fight for that belt. You know, they'll probably try to make a run at Ogawa too. But let's face it, seeing the winner of a Valdez, Shakur Stevenson, if that fight happens, you know, and Ogawa taking on a Colbert Gutierrez winner, I don't see it. I just don't see it. You know, politics, you know, PBC fighter, Golden Boy fighter, but the PBC fighter is expected to win. Top ranked fighter. You know, I don't really expect to see an undisputed champion at 130 pounds in 2022 or even 2023. Just my personal opinion. I would see either Stevenson or Valdez move up. Now, when Conceicao comes in, say, for example, if Valdez and Stevenson win, they can't get Ogawa, then likely, you know, that's where Top Rank would probably try to push for Conceicao. You see what I'm saying? And depending on what happens with Foster and his WBC situation, or will he be mandatory or not? But I won't be shocked if in the next, pretty much in 2023, we see Shakur or Valdez or the winner of that at 135 possibly taking on Lomachenko if Lomachenko keeps winning. That's just my personal opinion. And yeah, Jamel Herring, let me pull this up real quick. Posted. Let me see here. A possibility of him versus a Berchelt? What's going on with that? Did he take it down? Let me see. Let's go check this out. I didn't really get a chance to really look. I'm not done there. I can still fight there, but I highly doubt the fight happens at 130. Lightweight may be the next destination. Yeah, crazy, right? Jamel Herring, I'm hearing I might fight Miguel Berchelt next. That's the word that's been swirling around. I don't know about that, cuz. Meaning, you know, I think Berchelt, listen, even though he got sparked out by Oscar Valdez, I don't know about that. But also, dude can box. You know, Jamel Herring can box. He just couldn't box against or better than Shakur Stevenson. Anyway, let's listen to this post-fight interview. Take a time out. Like the video, because liking the video does help, despite the fact that YouTube, being the, you know, weirdos that they are, took down the right for people to dislike the video for political reasons, for real. Like, it's just like, we can't have nothing these days. We're just going to listen to the post-fight interview, talk about it a little bit. Hear what Conceicao has to say before we move on to the next topic.
Tessitore, Timothy Bradley, Andre Ward, and Mark Kriegel. Now I'm here with Xavier Martinez. It was almost a shutout win. Yeah. What were your thoughts in terms of what you did tonight against Robson Conceicao?
I thought it was closer. Obviously, I know I didn't do enough to win. I sat back too much. I didn't listen to the game plan fully. It is what it is. You know, he won. I'm not going to be a sore loser. He did his thing tonight, and you know, it wasn't my night. But I'm not done. You know, it's just the beginning. You know, Lomachenko had said something not too long ago. He said, "Just because you lose, don't mean it's over." You know, this is just the beginning for me. You know, I thank God for the opportunity. I think Robson. You know, I'm gonna learn a lot from this fight.
Rounds 4 and round 9, it looked like you shook him with some good shots. What was it that didn't allow you to go after him?
I'm asking myself the same question. You know, it is what it is. I know I hurt him twice. You know, I didn't listen to my corner fully, but you know, I'm gonna hold my head high and keep going.
Boxing's about learning experiences. You were undefeated coming into this fight, so this is your first loss. What do you take away from this in terms of learning and becoming a better fighter?
You know, I learned a lot. You know, I fought someone who was well experienced, so I'm gonna take a lot with me. I learned, you know, when you have a top contender, a top fighter like that, you can't, you know, let off the gas. You gotta stay on him, because obviously you've seen what he did when I was just sitting back.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your candor. Now we're going to speak with Robson Conceicao, who comes away with a victory, and he's speaking with the doctor. And Sergio, if you would join us. Robson, una victoria importante. ¿Qué cambió esta noche que te logró ser tan dominante? What allowed you to be so dominant tonight, Robson?
Primeiramente, muito respeito a Xavier Martinez, muito forte, um atleta muito bueno, uma peleja muito dura. Eu tive que treinar muito para esta peleja porque sabia que Martinez era muito bueno, então sim, treinei muito para esta peleja e esta peleja foi para mim como uma final, um campeonato mundial, porque eu sei que eu saí campeão mundial contra Valdez e agora poderia estar sendo uma defesa de título, pero saí como uma eliminatória e eu estou listo para pelear com Oscar Valdez quando ele queira, até na fazenda dele, eu peleo com ele. Agora vai pelear Valdez e Shakur Stevenson. Eu creio que Shakur Stevenson vai ganhar, pero eu torço para que Valdez ganhe, para que eu possa guanteá-lo muito mais.
He said, more importantly, I want to first start off and give respect to Javier Martinez because I had to train extra hard because I knew what a challenge he was going to pose for me tonight. More importantly, I was able to be dominant this evening because I put in such hard work and because I was motivated, because I know that I should be the champion. I know that I beat Oscar Valdez, and he's got to fight against Shakur Stevenson. And I think that Shakur's going to win. But as a fan and as a fighter, I want Oscar Valdez to win because he owes me a fight. And that's why I want Oscar Valdez to win, although I see that being a tough fight. De las derrotas se aprende mucho. Lo que vimos hoy fue resultado de eso. You said you learned a lot from a loss. Was tonight's performance a result of that?
Sim, depois da peleia contra Oscar Valdez, eu não me desanimei. Eu me senti muito mais motivado, muita mais determinação para que eu possa treinar muito mais e fazer o que eu sei de melhor, que é pelear muito e assim sair com uma grande vitória. Valdez, te espero.
He said, look, I did learn a lot from that Oscar Valdez loss, and that's why I was able to dedicate myself. I wasn't discouraged by what happened that evening. I know who I am, and I knew that if I put in the work, I could put in this type of performance, but my mind is set on Valdez, and I definitely want that shot. ¿Te logró lastimar por ahí en el cuarto episodio, en el nuevo, con algún golpe? Did he ever shake you up with some shots there in the 4th or 9th round, Martinez?
Martinez muito duro, tem uma mão muito, para mim, mais forte que Valdez, pega mais duro que Valdez. Então, a peleia para mim se valeu muito, uma grande preparação para que na próxima peleia eu possa estar mais uma vez listo para pelear por o centro mundial.
He said, look, to be honest, I think Xavier Martinez.
All right, let's running a little too long. So it's like, all right, Robson Conceicao, shout out to him. Look like he, like is on the big things. But looking at the 130-pound division as a whole before we move on, as I said, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the winner of Valdez versus Stevenson versus Conceicao if they can't get Ogawa. Whoever has that IBF title at the time. Currently, Conceicao number 3 by the WBC. He is not ranked by the WBA. He is not ranked by the IBF. And shockingly, surprisingly, not ranked by the WBO. But here he is in the Ring magazine at number 10. So, moving on, this weekend, Don King charged $50 for the people. A pay-per-view on Fight.tv and his website, Don King Pay-Per-View, with Cruiserweight champion Ilunga Jr. Macabu taking on Thabiso Mchunu. I sat here, watched the whole entire card. Macabu, Cruiserweight champion. Canelo has had his eyes on him during the WBC convention in 2021. Canelo and Eddie Reynoso petitioned the WBC to allow him to be ranked at cruiserweight to be able to fight Macabu when he wants to. Right now, he's currently not ranked at cruiserweight, but basically, if the fight were to happen, he would be ranked at cruiserweight. Now, Macabu didn't put on a good performance. In my personal opinion, he lost his fight this weekend to Mchunu. And everything I saw from the Southpaw cruiserweight, who weighed in at 197, 29-2 with 25 KOs, Canelo would beat him. I don't care if he's southpaw. Canelo would knock this dude out, 200 pounds or not. Now, he is, in my personal opinion, one of the weaker if not the weakest. He is the weakest champion at cruiserweight in my opinion, and I do cover boxing. He's also the smaller of the cruiserweights. So, you know, Canelo fighting him would just be spectacle. Oh yeah, Canelo moving all the way from being a 154-pound champion all the way up to cruiserweight. Wow, that's almost heavyweight. Wow. But realistically, like the fight, you know, it's like easy pickings. You know, as my colleague Big J, old mate, would say about Tim Tszyu, Canelo, like that's vulture mentality, just trying to pick off the bones. It's like, yo, it's just an accolade to be able to say that I won a cruiserweight title. Don't get me wrong, Canelo's good. You know, and like, you know, we want our fighters to have these spectacles and accomplishments, but realistically, it's along the same lines of if Canelo moves up, you know, and, you know, to light heavyweight and he fight Joe Smith first. It's like, bro, that's the easiest. It's like, all right, I get it, you know? So Makabu, WBC, Ursun Gulamarian, the WBA, him and the world champion, Riyad Murray, I don't know how to pronounce his name. They were supposed to fight, but, you know, COVID, something happened there. I don't want to, spit out the wrong shit. Miris Breedis is on some weirdo shit doing diss tracks and getting tattoos of Jake Paul, like weird shit, when his IBF mandatory, who me and Big J been talking about, Joe Apatine, they're supposed to be fighting sometime in the spring, April or so. Lawrence O'Colly is fighting Michael Cieslak the end of this month, well, the end of February. You know, I believe Cieslak is his WBO mandatory, and he's trying to fight Breedis. Macabu right now with Don King, don't be surprised if, you know, they try to hold out as long as they can and not fight nobody. They just had to fight Mchunu because Mchunu was the mandatory. By the way, that was a rematch. But in my personal opinion, Mchunu had won. Mchunu had won. Here, let's go look at my little bit of my post-fight video and listen to the post-fight interview from Makabu. Let's see here. And I was disgusted with Ray Mancini. Disgusted. But anyway, listen in. Please subscribe. This is me, even though I got the same hoodie and same hat on and I need to go to the barbershop. Still, this is from Saturday night.
And the two guys who gave it to Makabu are the two guys I do not agree with.
Yeah, and the champ has the right.
They're friends of mine. They're friends
here.
I like a person, but man,
we still have one more championship fight, so stick around.
Ray Mancini is going to head up to the ring. He is going to talk to the winner and
let's listen in.
Champion, Junior Makabu. Again, the scorecards 115-113 for Makabu, 115-113 for the challenger, and the deciding vote was cast 116-112 for the winner and still champion by a split decision. Two main events, 12 rounds.
So, Canelo is set to return May the 7th. His options are Jamal Charlo, 100 May, and
thank you very much. Firstly, before I answer you, I start by saying thanks to God who gave me this opportunity to be here. And I'm saying also thank you to Don King for making this show to happen. I'm saying thank you to my team, Damien Durand, Tariq Sadi, Kiso Lokele, Charles Lokelo, if he is not here, the promoter Luyoyo, and I cannot forget my president, Felix Antoine Tshisekedi Chilombo, who make me to be a world champion. I was front of great fight. I already fight Thabiso for the first time, and he's a fighter, he's a counterpunch, and today, I didn't come for knockout. I just come to box, to show him then I can box. Because my next fight with Saul Canelo, I'm going to box and knock you out, baby.
Let me ask straighter, Damien. Did your fighter fight the game plan? Did it make you a little nervous about the decision tonight?
Not at all. You know,
I was comfortable in the fight. I felt we were leading the fight comfortably. Junior boxed a beautiful game. We set up a good game plan. We know what Thabiso was about. Yes, he brought in some elements that surprised us, but I told Junior, don't look for the knockout. If the knockout comes, you take it. But all I want from round one is points. And he said to me, I got you, baby. After round one, he put the first round in the bag, and I knew, let's go.
Now they're talking about possibly Canelo challenging Junior for the title. Is that a fight you're looking forward to?
Viva Mexico.
Viva Congo!
Thank you, America, for welcoming me. Thank you, Don King. Thanks all the Congolese who be here to support Junior Makabu. And I want also to say thank you to all the Congolese in the hall. This is our time for Congo, man. We are the best, number one in the hall. Et je vais demander aux Congolais de pouvoir être fiers d'être Congolais. Je suis là pour vous défendre et pour faire votre fierté. Que Dieu bénisse l'Afrique et que Dieu bénisse la République démocratique du Congo.
Hey, there you are, WC Cruiserweight Champion.
I think Ray Mancini was drunk. He was saying some crazy shit throughout the whole night. Well, anyway, that's it for the cruiserweight division. Really nothing there to talk about until Lawrence Okali fights and Miras Breedis stops sucking the cock of Jake Paul. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is not a kid show. Mature audiences. I wouldn't be surprised if Don King finds a way to fuck up the Makabu fight for Canelo. Makabu, for Canelo, if the fight ever were to happen, by trying to make it go to purse bid or some shit like that. Me, frankly, I just really don't see the fight happening, especially after the performance that Makabu put on. He didn't really do himself any favors. Don King putting it on pay-per-view, limiting the exposure, even though people streamed the shit out of it. I just don't really see it. Moving on. We talked about it over the weekend. I gave my thoughts on the Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte fight. The purse bid was won by Queensbury Frank Warren. Many feel that MTK Global and Bob Arum and Top Rank and ESPN were the secret behind the scenes funders of that fight, because people are like, damn, Frank Warren just got $41 million laying around. What is it? Tyson Fury supposed to get like a little over 29 to 32 million, and then Dillian Whyte around like 8 million or so. Looking like they're targeting April the 23rd, according to Top Rank on ESPN broadcast this week. Pay-per-view here in the States, okay, here's the thing. Pay-per-view here in the States, the price is $74.99, pretty much. That's like the benchmark. $69.99, but, that's pretty much like the price that they're charging. And when you buy a pay-per-view on ESPN Plus, you have to have ESPN. You can't put it this way. From my understanding, and I've always had ESPN Plus, but people were complaining that you couldn't just pay for Shaw Porter versus Terrence Crawford versus Shaw Porter. You had to pay the ESPN Plus fee as well. So I guess what I'm saying is, for them to do Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte on pay-per-view here in the States, it's hard to believe that they're going to give us a discount on that fight from it not being $70+ because it's going to be a midday card here in the States. The fight will take place, the main event, they will be in the ring about between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. on a Saturday, right? It's April. So what's going on in April? NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, what other sporting events? I don't know. Over in the UK, their pay-per-views are about, $30 or so, 30 quid as they call it. I just don't see this being, and I hate talking about fighters' money these days and purses and all that. I just don't see this being the type of fight. I just don't see this being the type of fight where it's going to be like an international like phenomenon. You see what I'm saying? Like where it's going to be, enough to charge pay-per-view here in the States. And, the only reason why I believe it's pay-per-view here in the States is because of money that was promised to Tyson Fury from ESPN Top Rank, not because this is a pay-per-view fight. You know, the spectacle, you know, the event is supposed to be Tyson Fury. I get all of that. But Tyson Fury versus a Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte's not known here in the States, by the way. He may be known internationally, and yes, United States is not the world. I get all that, but he's not really like a known like name where people are going to be like, you know, in the supermarket, like they were with Fury versus Wilder. Like, yo, that heavyweight fight's happening tonight. The big Alabama dude, you know, like Dillian Whyte don't move no numbers over here in the States. So for them to, you know, be putting that on pay-per-view, and by the way, I don't pay attention to anything Bob Burnham says anymore, you know, regarding pay-per-view numbers. You know, respectfully, he's predicted that pay-per-views would do a certain amount of numbers, and us fans and media just look like, okay, all right, you know. So personally, here in the States, at $70, I believe, you know, that's pretty logical to think that they're going to charge us here in the States on ESPN Plus. $70 for Fury versus Whyte. 100,000 pay-per-view buys. You know, will they do like some big media thing over here in the States for Tyson Fury? You know, the running date is supposed to be April the 23rd. Let me see if I can pull up some clips for you here so you can hear what ESPN was talking about the fight. It's going to be April the 23rd. Let's see here. Here we are. Listen in. Take your time out. Like the video. Please subscribe. This is from Top Ranks and ESPN's The State of Boxing. They were talking about it this weekend on the Robson Conceicao versus Xavier Martinez card.
He doesn't need the 15 or 20 million. This is all about redemption. You've lost before in shocking fashion. You lost again to a guy who came up in weight. And, you know, the mission should only be about retaining your title. So I think everything worked out the way it was supposed to. Let's see who wins on the Tyson Fury Dillian Whyte side. Let's see if Joshua can redeem himself or if Usyk can defend the belts. And whoever wins out of that deserves the fight for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world.
Terrible businessman. I'm just going to let you know right now.
Anthony Joshua, you're saying?
Terrible businessman. Leave $15 million on the table. All you got to do is sit back, look pretty, be training, figuring out who you're going to have train you when that day comes. When that day comes, when Tyson Fury says, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to fight now for the undisputed championship. Now he gets a shot at all the belts from Tyson Fury in Wembley, right?
Should Joshua just sit, if that happened to...
So let me tell you what they were talking about. Allegedly, the step-aside agreement was for Anthony Joshua to accept $15 million. And at the last minute, the rumors were going around that he wanted an extra $5 million, $20 million for him to step aside and not fight Oleksandr Usyk before to be Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. Dillian Whyte has been quiet. We don't know what he was offered, but you got to think what Timothy Bradley is saying is this. That's a free $15 million right there. You see what I'm saying? And all you got to do is sit back and be like, all right, I'm just going to fight the winner of all of this at the end of it. Because he was still guaranteed and owed a shot against Oleksandr Usyk. You know, and it looks like from the outside looking in, what they're talking about is at the very last minute, everything was all done. And Joshua was like, you know what? No, I want some more. And Tyson Fury and his side was like, you know what? Fuck out of here. Nope. We're going and, you know, we're going to fight Dillian Whyte and give him his $8 million. So maybe that's why Dillian Whyte is pissed and not saying nothing, because Dillian Whyte was also going to get free money to step aside and whatever was going to happen with that, you know? No telling what his portion was going to be. But yeah, they're talking about it happening likely here. Let me see if I can find the clip for you. In April the 23rd, here it is right here, after they talked about Nico Ali Walsh.
Heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali, to the current news cycle that includes the lineal heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, because the WBC purse bid was won for the mandatory defense against Dillian Whyte. It comes in an all-time record, Dre, of over $41 million for a purse bid. So Tyson Fury Dillian Whyte's going to be set for April 23rd. Bob Arum's publicly saying April 23rd in the UK. A lot of buzz that it's going to be Wembley Stadium. Few things here, Dre, but your takeaway, that means that the step-aside money was not accepted by Anthony Joshua. So you're going to get Joshua Usyk in a rematch instead of having undisputed unification of Usyk and Tyson Fury. Your reaction?
I think that's the way it was supposed to be from the beginning. You know, I think Anthony Joshua needs to go back and fight Oleksandr Usyk. That's who took his belts from him. And some would say, man, it's $15 million that he walked away with. This is a guy, and I'm not trying to pocket watch, this is public information, but he's made upwards of over $100 million, maybe $200 million, somewhere around there. It's a lot of M's, right? He doesn't need the 15 or 20 million. This is all about redemption. You've lost before in
Do you agree with Andre Ward? Like, you know, like I get what he's saying. It's like you made all the money in the world. You know, like go after your belt. Show you got some balls, you know? But that also is a lot of money to leave on the table. I don't know, you know, because Timothy Bradley's saying, listen, I wouldn't leave that much money. He's a bad businessman. You know, and fighters, that's, you know, 15 million just to, you know? And then you have to also think he's fighting Usyk again. Personally, I think he's going to lose to Usyk again. So it's like, you know, where do you go with that? You see what I'm saying? So we're going to switch up a little bit and move on to our next topic, which is going to be what's going on this weekend with this Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams and Clarissa Shields versus a Emma Kozin card that's happening on here in the States, by the way. It's a $30 pay-per-view. Crazy D says, Cleveland said Fury backed out the Usyk fight. Well, listen, it's a whole bunch of he said, she said going around from all sides. I'm just going by, you know, like my opinion and what we've been seeing so far. But to go on to what's going on with this Liam Williams card, I don't know how I feel about this card. Maybe if it wasn't pay-per-view, you know, here in the States, maybe I would be a little more like enthusiastic. Here's the card, by the way. This is a midday card for us here in the States, the second of the three significant cards. The first major card of this weekend, boxing card, is Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios, which we're going to talk about next. This is a midday card here in the States. Over in the UK, you know, on Sky Sports, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams, Clarissa Shields versus Emma Kozin. Alawalin is back, taking on a Camille Skolowski. Harlem Eubank is on the card, and Caroline Dubois, the sister of Daniel Dubois, is on the card. Chris Eubank Jr., here, let me pull up the rankings here, is competing at what he says is his like official weight division, the 160-pound division. You know, his time at 168, you know, he's saying, you know, it was just too big for him. Jamal Charlo, we're waiting to see what's going to happen with him. You know, if he's going to be moving up to take on Canelo Alvarez at 168 for undisputed. Ryota Murata and Golovkin, you know, we're waiting for it. That fight is happening. For people who are saying Golovkin should fight somebody else, Murata should fight somebody else, it's too much money, you know, involved with Murata and Golovkin over in Japan for them to go other ways. And also, the fight was postponed because there's travel restrictions and COVID. Contracts are already signed. The event is happening. Ryota Murata versus Golovkin for the WBA Super and IBF 160-pound titles. Golovkin is also rumored to have gotten a deal offered from the Zone to take on Canelo. Canelo would have to accept. If Canelo doesn't fight Makabu or Charlo, Canelo would fight Bivol and then Golovkin after that. And I'm guessing Golovkin will move to 168. Demetrius Andrade is vacating his 160-pound WBO title after he had a purse bid with Zanzibar Kunali. I don't know how to pronounce his name, even though I've covered him twice now and I keep butchering it. Every now and then I get it right, though. So Andrade's moving up to 168 and trying to, you know, fight Zach Parker to become Canelo's 168-pound mandatory, just chasing him up the division. And you have Eubank Jr. here, taking on a Liam Williams. Last fight, I don't even remember if I covered this one. He's been doing a bunch of nothing since Matvey Korobov on this PBC card blew out his shoulder. James DeGale was a pretty impressive win. But James DeGale, worn, battle worn, but still pretty impressive win nonetheless. And then, you know, losing to George Groves. And George Groves had one arm and, you know, he was told he should finish. Avni Yildirim knocked him out. But now at 32 years old, trained by Roy Jones, it's like, all right, bro, it's time to do something. But looking at the 160-pound division, what does he do? What path do you take him? You keep him on that WBA path, right? Because with the WBA, he's ranked #1. So depending on what Munguia is going to do, you know, he could be fighting to be, and there's not supposed to be any more interim champions in the WBA. So I'm guessing he, you know, if he beats Liam Williams, who's ranked #6, right? It's safe to say that he should be fighting in an eliminator to be the mandatory. I'm not too interested in this fight, by the way. Not at all. Liam Williams, 23-3-1 with 18 KOs. Lost to Demetrius Andrade, unanimous decision. Got a win over Atlantes Fox. All the other wins, you know, the 2 losses to Liam Smith, I really don't see nothing really like they're special. But one fight I am interested in, though, is Clarissa Shields' fight. I got a chance to watch some tape on this Emma Koza. And 20-0-1 with 11 KOs, southpaw from Slovenia. A black girl from Slovenia. 23 years old, the princess. She looks heavy-handed, kinda. You know, slow, but like heavy-handed. Like, you know, but kind of sharp a little bit. I don't know. It is a little shocking that Clarissa Shields is only had 11 fights. That's a little crazy to me. Cruz DeZern. Tori Nussin was over the hill. The Hannah Gabriel's fight, very good fight, aging well. Hannah Rankin, very good fight, aging well. Christina Hammer, Marie DeCare, very good fight, aging well. The big controversy with the Ivana Hobson fight, aging well. You know? That's going to be on Fight.tv. Final card we're going to talk about of the weekend is, hold on, let me see. Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios. Here, I got this clip I'm going to pull up here from PBC. I'm not going to be surprised if Keith Thurman loses, to be honest. I think I said this before. I will not be surprised if Keith Thurman loses. Now, he looks in phenomenal shape. I got a chance to watch PBC Fight Camp. It came on yesterday at 1 p.m. on Free TV Fox. Check your DVR. You should be able to watch it as well on the Fox platform or the Fox Sports platform. I know if you have Verizon Fios, you're able to watch it. It really wasn't too much about Mario Barrios, but the show was really basically, it was about Keith Thurman, what he's been doing. You know, he's on a near 3-year layoff. You know, remember he fought Manny Pacquiao. What was that? July of 2019. And that was his last fight. And me personally, that's a fight that's going to haunt him because at the end of the day, he lost to a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao, bro. Alexa, stop. It's like at the end of the day, he lost to a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao, bro. And, you know, you didn't just lose. You got punched in the stomach. You got dropped. You know, it's just not a fight that holds up well. Tomorrow, for Fight Week, they're having a media roundtable featuring Robert Garcia, Derek James, Stephen Edwards, and Ismail Salas. Wednesday is the final press conference for the main event. That's going to be on Free TV, Fox Sports 1. Thursday is the Undercard press conference on YouTube, and then Friday is going to be the weigh-in on Fox Sports 1. We're going to be streaming on next time we're going to be streaming is Wednesday at this time, 6 p.m. Friday at this time, 6 p.m. Recapping on Wednesday the press conference for Thurman versus Barrios, as well as the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor press conference that's happening Wednesday early afternoon in New York. Friday, we're going to be here 6 p.m. recapping the weigh-in, final predictions, preview on the card. And then Saturday night, we're going to be streaming during the main event, maybe during the co-feature, Leo Santa Cruz, Keenan Cabahal. We'll see. So let's pull this up here. PBC released some content. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, of the welterweights showing Porter Danny Garcia and Yordenis Ugas predicting how the pay-per-view is going to go. Take a time out, like the video, subscribe. Liking the video does still help us. In the YouTube algorithm, we just got over a very lengthy YouTube shadow ban content restriction semi-suspension. We're going to be here covering fights every week now, like we're back full time. And thank you for hanging in there. Also down below in the description box is links to the WBC app powered by the Vibe Network. T Street is a content creator for that platform. Free fights, interviews, and more. Roku, Android, Apple. Also, in the chat and down below in the description box is the links to my social media platforms and my Twitch and website. Let's see what these welterweights showing Porter Danny Garcia and Yordenis Ugas have to say about the fight. Thurman versus Barrios.
Ever since we fought in 2016, I think he's only had 3 fights since 2016, which is just borderline crazy. I had him on my podcast the other day, and he really does look rejuvenated. And I think a lot of times fighters have learned what to say and what to do to get the media on their side. I know that Keith knows how to do that, but I know Keith very well, and I could just see his energy is really is special, and it's like a vintage Keith that we used to see 2015, 2013 when he was going for it all. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see the hunger. I'm excited to see, of course, his skill. I'm very excited to see his power. Dude has God-given power, and I think if we're able to see that in this fight against Mario Barrios, it's safe to say Keith Thurman is back. Keith has a way of playing it safe, and I'm not mad at him for that. It got him, undefeated until he fought Manny Pacquiao. So he's a very smart fighter.
Thanks, OJ.
And I'm definitely expecting to see that. What I want to see though is power. I want to see his tenacity. I want to see that vicious spirit that he had all the way back when we were 10-year-olds and the amateurs. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see. But what I expect to see is a very smart Keith, a Keith that will win this fight, and a Keith that's got, of course, the boxing ability.
It's been a long layoff. I know we fought 5 years ago. That's crazy. I can't believe it's already been 5 years. And I think he's only had 2 fights since then. Can you still take a punch? Can you still motivate yourself to be great? But as far as his talent and his skill, he was #1 at welterweight at one time. We fought for the unification fight for WBA, WBC, for all the marbles. It was a close-in fight that I thought I won. But we're talking about a guy who was the #1 division. Listen, man, we got a rivalry, and I think Garcia and Thurman too. That's something the fans want to see. I would like to get back in the ring top of this year. We're in the talks right now. Thurman gets his win, Danny gets his win, and let's do
it. Is that perspective? But look at Danny Hayes. What is going on?
Do it again. I think that's one of the biggest fights that could be made in boxing this year.
No, pienso que va a ser una buena pelea. Pienso que va a ser una buena pelea. Thurman peleado con mucho talento. con mucho que probar después de 2 años y medio.
Hold on, I'm gonna read it.
Y Barrios viene subiendo, pero ha demostrado que pelea fuerte. Va a ser una buena pelea. No, el que vino contra Pacquiao fue un buen Thurman. Luchó duro esa noche, no lo alcanzó, pero luchó fuerte esa noche. No sé, la verdad, después de 2 años y medio, la verdad, no creo que sea un Thurman tan afilado así, la verdad. No, que estoy feliz de verlo pelear de nuevo, estoy feliz de regresar de nuevo. Es uno de los mejores pesos welter del mundo, un campeón unificado, y que estoy contento, y el boxeo también debe estar contento que está regresando él, que está regresando el deporte nuevo.
Gotta change that smoke alarm battery. Yeah, so here's the card. $74.99 on PBC on Fox pay-per-view. I am disappointed that Jose Zito Lopez is off the card. He is said to have some type of mysterious injury. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe it. I believe he's going to fight Terrence Crawford in Dubai or some shit. Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios. I'm not going to be shocked if the winner of Keith Thurman, Mario Barrios fights the winner of Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas that's set to be announced. It can be any day now. The pay-per-view is going to open up, from my understanding, with Luis Nery versus Carlos Castro, April Ramos versus Lucas Santamaria, and then Leo Santa Cruz returning to take on Akinen Cabral. That's what it's looking like. I didn't get a chance to, and we're going to be doing a lot of Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios content this week, so stay tuned for that. You know, in fact, Wednesday's stream is going to be pretty much dedicated, a whole half of it, half an hour, to the fight. And I'm going to be doing an individual video tomorrow on PBC Fight Camp. But I didn't get a chance to talk about Bob Arum and how he's just a PR nightmare for the guys over there at Top Rank with all the crazy shit he's been on, you know, with slandering Terrence Crawford, you know, in public. And, you know, his statements on women's boxing, despite him promoting women's boxing events. You know, but, you know, you can't really be making excuses for grown-ass men, even though, you know, we just know old people sometimes, man. They be saying crazy-ass shit. They don't be having no filter. Listen in. This is from IFL a couple days ago.
Who's going that night?
The women's fight between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano.
I mean, as good a fight as that is, I mean, come on. You know, whatever reason it is, people don't particularly pay attention to the women fights, you know. If the answer is ESPN made the schedule and they couldn't care less. I don't want to denigrate fights. I don't want to be accused of being anti-women in sports, but I'm telling you, this is like the Premier League against women football.
Okay, so the
Now, people are pulling up old ass clips of, let me show you this one. This one was kind of hilarious. People pulling up old ass clips of him, you know, talking about like how, here, listen to this. Listen to this. Listen to this. But yeah, if you had to pick a fight, which one are you picking? Serrano, Taylor, or Valdez Stevenson? I'm just going to go on a record. If I had to pick one, even though I'm going to be watching both, I'm picking Valdez Stevenson.
There are a lot of people like me who feel that women boxing is revolting.
Take your time out. Like the video, subscribe. My bad. I forgot I was on mute. Damn. Forgot I was on mute. Well, I was saying that we're going to be here. Damn. I was saying, what up, Daniel? I was saying tomorrow we're going to be here for the media roundtable. We're going to be streaming that. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be here for another hour-long live stream at 6 p.m. where we're going to recap the Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano press conference. Jake Paul is supposed to be in attendance. All right, I see. I'm in mute. I was on mute. And we're going to recap the Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios press conference. That's going to be on Wednesday. And then we're going to go a full deep dive into Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios and whatever news of that, of the day is going to be going on. You know, so I'm going to be back tomorrow doing some videos and chopping this up. Take your time out, like the video.